Hi, I'm Emily Pritt with System Improvements, creators of Taproot, and today we're going to talk about IQ versus EQ and why emotional intelligence, the emotional quotient which is found within that, matters more. First, let's take a look at what IQ and EQ are and how they have complementary strengths. IQ is something that is determined at birth and it's static. So in other words, what you have is what you've got. EQ, on the other hand, can be strengthened over time, and that's where we have our emotional awareness, empathy, self-regulation, social skills, and things of that sort. And when we're talking about emotional intelligence, we're looking at Daniel Goleman's model from 1995, and he also has a book on IQ versus EQ. Highly recommend you take a look at that. Because IQ and EQ serve different purposes, they work best when they're combined. There's a saying that your high IQ may get you the job, but that strong EQ helps you keep it. This chart shows some differences as well in the IQ versus EQ, or emotional intelligence. Like I said, is a component within the emotional quotient. Definitions. So IQ measures cognitive abilities like logic, reasoning, problem solving, and memory, whereas emotional intelligence will measure the ability to recognize, interpret, and manage emotions in oneself and others. Now, we can't manage the emotions of others, but we can recognize the emotions. We can only manage our own. So a lot of times that gets misconstrued. The focus of emotional intelligence is the intellectual capabilities and analytical skills, whereas with emotional intelligence, we're looking at emotional awareness, interpersonal skills, and adaptability. With IQ, it's largely static after childhood. It's influenced by genetics and education, but your IQ, stuck where it's at, EQ can be developed and improved. So that's always good news. There's also formal measurements, so you can take a standardized test to figure out that IQ, but you can also take professional assessments to see where that level of emotional intelligence lies. Core skills with IQ, we're looking at logical reasoning, verbal and mathematical aptitude, memory, and spatial reasoning. And with emotional intelligence, that's self-awareness, empathy, self-regulation, social skills, and an often misunderstood component of motivation. The primary strengths of IQ are solving technical problems, excelling in academics, and performing tasks requiring high mental focus. Whereas with IQ, we're building relationships, managing stress, navigating social dynamics, and leading effectively. So we can apply our IQ when we're looking at tasks that require analysis, precision, and technical expertise. We can apply emotional intelligence in teamwork, leadership, conflict resolution, and having strong emotional resilience. So how does this help with success? IQ is going to contribute to academic and professional achievement in technical fields, whereas the EQ is a strong predictor of success in leadership, relationships, and overall well-being. And how can this impact our relationships? First off, with IQ, there's limited influence. Intellectual capacity doesn't guarantee social success. But the impact for EI on relationships directly impacts the quality of personal and professional relationships. As far as adaptability, with IQ, may struggle with emotional and social change despite that high intelligence. The adaptability with a high EI allows for better handling of change and emotional challenges. Lastly, some examples. So an IQ helps with solving complex equations, designing a computer algorithm, or conducting scientific research. And that EI will help with mediating workplace conflicts, motivating a team, or comforting a friend during a tough time. So as I mentioned before, there are the 5 components of emotional intelligence from Daniel Goleman's model. And these are self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And they're usually in this order for a reason. So self-awareness is understanding your own emotions and the reasons behind them. If you get frustrated over something, why? What is it that creates that? You have self-awareness to understand your own emotional triggers and then develop proper ways to respond through self-regulation. That's staying calm and controlled, especially under stress, limiting those blow-ups, and just having a way to stay composed and address something tactfully and using good emotional intelligence. Motivation is those intrinsic motivation is what we're talking about. It's the goals that are driven by inner rewards. A lot of times motivation can be an incentive to do something where maybe there's a reward or something like that. But we want to look at the intrinsic, the internal motivation as part of emotional intelligence. And I have a whole session on this. Like I said, it's often misunderstood. And that's at our 2025 Global Taproot Summit this October in Knoxville, Tennessee. Empathy is understanding the feelings of others and just putting yourself in their shoes, looking at things from their perspective. It doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but just have that perspective to say, okay, I could probably see why you might feel that way. And social skills are connecting with others and managing those social interactions. So first we've got to think about, where do we start? How do we assess our own emotional intelligence? So looking at these 5 core components, we've got them broken down into categories. So ask yourself some of these questions, and that might help you pinpoint a place where you might want to start to improve your emotional intelligence. With self-awareness, are you frequently misunderstood by others? Can you name the emotions you're experiencing in a given moment? Do you find it challenging to understand your emotional triggers? When you get mad, do you know why? Self-regulation. Do you have difficulty controlling your temper or reactions under stress? Do you frequently regret things you've said or done in emotional situations? Are you easily overwhelmed by unexpected changes or challenges? Motivation. Do you struggle to stay motivated when external rewards or recognition are absent? Are you often pessimistic about achieving your goals or the outcomes of your efforts? Do you frequently feel stuck or uninspired in your work or personal life? With empathy, do you find it difficult to understand or relate to others' emotions or perspectives? Do people rarely confide in you or rarely seek your support during tough times? Or do you tend to interrupt or dismiss others' feelings during conversations? This is a big one. A lot of times people think they're building rapport by sharing a connection. I've experienced that too, let me tell you. But you're interrupting, and it also can be seen as being dismissive. And lastly, social skills. Do you struggle to resolve conflicts effectively without escalating tension? Are you often perceived as unapproachable or overly critical? And do you avoid collaboration or find it hard to work well in a team setting? If any of that sounds like you, it's leading you into an area to further develop of emotional intelligence. So as we are talking about developing our emotional intelligence, here's some ways we can do this. First, active listening is minimizing distractions. We're having eye contact and paraphrasing. Oh, so what it sounds like you're experiencing is an example of paraphrasing. You're just putting it back in your own words. It helps the other person you're speaking to feel that you're actively listening. The yes, that's not active listening, okay? Self-regulation. You can also do that through self-reflection. You keep a journal, track those emotional experiences, recognize patterns. If you're getting angry at 2 o'clock every afternoon or most afternoons, maybe it's because you've hit a lull after lunch. There might be some biological reasons why your emotions are causing these challenges. Mindful pauses. It's another one. Before reacting, just take a deep breath, compose yourself. Okay? That breath, it helps so much. And then empathy practice. Simulate real life scenarios where you imagine yourself in someone else's position, right? Put yourself in their shoes and deepen that understanding to improve interactions. Now let's look at the power of emotional intelligence. These statistics come from Bradbury and Greaves' Emotional Intelligence 2.0. And they say that 58% of success across industries. Research shows that EQ accounts for over half of one's performance success, largely affecting leadership roles, which require emotional regulation. 58%. It also fosters better team dynamics, drives collaboration and adaptability, and it's the key to career enhancement. So while technical experience may secure a job, emotional intelligence is often the differentiator in success and promotions within highly competitive fields. Like I said, IQ may get you the job, but EQ helps you keep it. Looking at EI at work, there's 3 things we can definitely do. We can look at conflict resolution and effective collaboration. We can also navigate organizational change with agility. That emotional agility helps with the smooth change of organizations while maintaining morale. and enhancing customer relations by building resilience. Empathy helps with customer relationships and fosters that strong emotional resilience under high pressure. But not just here. Let's talk about leadership for a minute, because having strong emotional intelligence for leaders is just as important as well. Using EI to inspire teams to handle crises helps build trust and cooperation, especially in challenging times. There's also safe space where team members can feel comfortable sharing ideas and concerns without fear of criticism, and that is a term that we're hearing a lot called psychological safety. It's ideal that high EI leaders encourage an inclusive environment that promotes innovation and success together. And as I stated before, emotional intelligence also impacts relationships. So let's look at family dynamics, friendships, parenting, and even romantic relationships. Addressing conflicts in a family setting fosters that trust and can be enhanced by high EQ. Emotional intelligence helps sensitive topics and things that are easily understood, like when we're getting into agreements, we can have empathy and understanding and get to the root of the problem. With friendships, having that active listening allows space to deepen friendships. The emotional intelligence helps tune into those needs effectively. With parenting, teaching EI skills to children through modeling self-awareness and empathy helps for future relationships. Parents who demonstrate that strong emotional regulation also strengthens those bonds through parenting. And in romantic relationships, managing emotions during disagreements and expressing love and appreciation is going to enhance those romantic relationships. Communicating feelings effectively and navigating challenges together builds lasting connection. We've got to talk about emotional intelligence and health. Now, I struck through the mental health portion because I think mental health has a big stigma behind it, but health is health. And emotional intelligence supports it by fostering self-compassion, reducing negative self-talk, and promoting a positive self-image. With a high EQ, you can often cope better and deal with stress and anxiety through emotion regulation strategies. We use a lot of time in therapy and other ways of cognitive reframing. So building emotional resilience is key to navigating those setbacks and life challenges, which we all will face. Understanding the link between emotions and physical health, including the impact of chronic stress on the body, really shows how EQ is important in both physiological and physical well-being. Understanding the link between emotions and physical health has already been studied, and I especially suggest you look at the book, The Body Keeps a Score by van der Kolk from 2014. This impacts how we deal with physiological and physical well-being. All right, as we're coming to a close here, we've got to talk about EI for life, okay? We do this through positive outlook. Begin each day by acknowledging the things you're thankful for. Practice turning negative thoughts into opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Engage in activities that bring joy and satisfaction to build a positive mindset. For adaptability, adapt to change by enrolling in personal development courses and build resilience through those challenges. Embrace uncertainty by viewing it as a chance to learn and grow. Develop strategies for coping with unexpected situations, like mindfulness techniques and seeking support from others when necessary. Empathy can also be improved by participating in active listening and volunteer work to enhance that. Listen to understand, not to respond, and show genuine interest in others' perspectives and emotions. And offer your time and skills to help improve the lives of others, which helps deepen that compassion and community connection. And with self-awareness, gain insights into your emotions through regular journaling and reflection. Dedicate a time weekly or daily to write about your feelings and experiences. You don't have to call it a journal. It can be a notebook to promote a deeper understanding of those emotional patterns and triggers. And reflect on your actions, how they impact on others, and use that awareness to guide future behavior. Key takeaways and next steps. First is emotional growth. Emotional intelligence is a skill, so you can enhance it with regular practice and introspection. But you got to embark gradually, so that's why we want to start with one thing and work on that. Initiate by taking small action steps to elevate your self-awareness and empathy in everyday situations. Seek further learning. We have a self-guided emotional intelligence for investigators course on our e-learning platform. You can go to that at taproot.thinkific.com. and connect and grow. Join us on social media for continued guidance and resources at Taproot RCA. You can also follow me on LinkedIn, and I look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.